SidandListen Hotline.
Hey, Sid. I'm really bad at pickup lines. I saw the most beautiful girl at the grocery store and I messed up. Can you help me?
A pickup line is just a socially acceptable way of sliding into someone's life without making it weird. Unless, of course, you make it weird. You're at the grocery store standing in front of the apples, pretending like you actually know how to pick the good one, and then there they are. The person, the one that just has that energy. Maybe it's the way they're debating between the Honeycrisp and Fuji that intrigues you, or maybe they just genuinely look like a really good person to talk to. Whatever it is, your brain goes, should I say something? But you panic. Your mind scrambles for something clever to say, something effortless, something that makes them drawn to you. Like, damn, I want to know you drawn to you. What's your next move? Hey, do you know if these apples are good? Boring. Wow, serious apple analysis going on over there. What? Baby, if you were an apple, you'd be a Honeycrisp. Sweet and slightly expensive. And just like that, you say nothing and walk away. Sound familiar? Yeah, because the truth is, pickup lines aren't the problem. The problem is that you think you need one. How many times have you Googled good pickup lines? How many times have you used them and wished that you just stayed home instead?
Oh my god, are you crying?
No, it's just raining.
We've all been there, where we feel like we have to find the perfect approach. But you speak and then maybe they stare at you like you just asked if they believe in the tooth fairy. Maybe they chuckle awkwardly out of pity, and maybe, worst case scenario, they don't even hear you. And you're left standing there questioning your life choices, reevaluating your entire existence, wondering if teleportation is real. But you know what? It's fine. You survived. The thing about pickup lines is, it's not about being clever or funny or impressive. It's about opening the door for some type of connection. At its best, a pickup line is just an invitation to interact. It's playful, light, and designed to spark a moment rather than guarantee a connection. A great pickup line makes the other person feel included in the moment, not like they're being performed at. But at its worst, it's cringy, forced charm. It's too rehearsed, it's trying too hard, and spoiler, if you can hear this, it's just not working out. It's just not. The thing is, real communication is textured. It has pauses, little moments of searching, of recalling, of feeling. It's not rehearsed or polished, it's alive. As a woman, I don't think pickup lines are about winning someone over. I think it's about giving a moment a chance to happen, and the real magic happens with what comes next. I am so sorry I keep doing that, but I caught you up, all right? You get where I'm going with this?
I do, but why am I struggling to communicate authentically?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the fear of rejection, which is a deep primal instinct. Primal fear of rejection isn't just some modern social anxiety. It's hardwired into our survival instincts from thousands of years of evolution. Why? Because once upon a time, rejection meant actual death. Think about it. Back in the day, being part of the tribe was the difference between living and being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. If you got kicked out of the group, you weren't just missing out on weekend plans. You were alone in the wild with zero backup. No food, no water, no protection. We are wired for social survival. And although rejection doesn't mean literal death now, our brains have not updated the software yet. And rejection feels like pain because to your brain, it is. Brain studies have found that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, meaning heartbreak hurts like an injury. Being ignored triggers real distress, and public humiliation, well, that feels like a gut punch. So, to protect ourselves, we filter ourselves to seem more likable. And sometimes we say things we don't mean out of the necessity to protect ourselves. And then we come across robotic, rehearsed, and the connection is lost. And that bleeds into pickup lines, conversation, any interaction, really.
Whoa, that sounds like what I experienced at the store. I turned into a completely different person trying to get it right.
How much pressure have you put on yourself focusing on saying the right thing the right way by sitting or standing the right way? When my brain is in that state, I can't be present. Instead, I am standing in my mind palace in a room trying to figure out five more interesting things to say. And that makes me feel like a tiny robot operating my body instead of being present with the person in that moment. And that creates that disconnect when we're having that conversation because you're always rehearsing in your head, trying to figure out, okay, what else can I say? Is this going to sound interesting? Do I sound interesting? Am I being boring? And on it goes. But let's not forget that people often confuse communication with performance. So much of modern dating and social interaction feels like a stage. Social media has conditioned us to craft an identity. Everyone is expected to be charismatic or witty and effortlessly cool. People feel like they have to deliver something rather than experience it. I know that when I'm talking to someone, I crave realness, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that crave it too. Your only job when you're trying to talk to someone, whether it's for the first time or the 100th time, is to stay curious. And instead of trying to be likable, be interested. Unless you're not interested, and that's a whole different story. But the problem with being authentic is many people secretly want a guarantee before they open up. If I say the right thing, they'll like me. If I seem confident, they won't reject me. If I avoid awkwardness, I'll be safe. But real connection doesn't happen in controlled conditions. It doesn't happen when you're following a script. It happens when there's just a little bit of room for uncertainty. When you're like, I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but I'm sure as hell interested in going there.
I mean, that makes sense, but why is that so hard to just let it go and embrace it?
Some people struggle with communication because they have a lifetime of self monitoring. Instead of being inside the conversation, they're outside of it, watching themselves. How do I look? Am I talking too much? Was that a weird thing to say? Look, I've said this countless times before, but the trick is when you start focusing on the other person, the self consciousness goes away. That little voice saying that you're not doing the right thing, you're not saying the right thing, you're not sitting the right way, it kind of melts away because now your whole focus and attention is on the person in front of you and you're interested in them. But you can feel the difference between authentic and filtered communication, right? Filtered communication is too smooth, it's too rehearsed, it's too perfect. And you're thinking, authenticity is the key, right? Simple. But why is it so hard for people to talk to each other? We've become more filtered than ever before, and it is so hard to unlearn that conditioning because it's everywhere.
Interesting, but how did we get here? Why why did we get here?
Well, there are several reasons. The first being the rise of the curated self. There was a time when conversations were raw, unscripted, because they had to be. You showed up as you were. But the moment we got access to filters, editing tools, and the ability to carefully craft our personas, something shifted. Pinterest is what comes to mind when I think perfectly curated. I was obsessed with scrolling my feed, okay? Everything looked so perfectly put together. And that curation obsession went mainstream and became a cultural expectation. But before Pinterest, magazines, blogs, and Tumblr already romanticized idealized aesthetics. Pinterest took it further by making perfection feel personal and attainable. Suddenly, your dream life, wardrobe, wedding, and even your morning smoothie were vision boarded to look effortlessly perfect. Social media went from a casual space to a portfolio of your best self. Conversations transformed into performances. You post a picture, but only after tweaking it. You type out a text, but reread it 3 times to make sure it sounds just right. Sound familiar? We've been conditioned to present the most polished version of ourselves, and your brain is just constantly editing you.
Okay, if the answer is not to be curated, that sounds easy enough, but I can't get my authentic self to come out. Is is there a reason for that?
Well, there are many reasons for this. And for me, it was because at the core of inauthenticity is fear, fear of being judged, misunderstood, or not belonging. And this isn't a new concept. We humans have always craved social acceptance, but modern life has intensified this fear in ways our ancestors never really experienced. Cavemen weren't lying around wondering if their cave drawings were getting enough engagement, and I'm pretty sure they weren't lying around wondering if their hunting techniques were aesthetic enough. Our social world has become hypervisible and hypercritical. We are online and we constantly feel judged, and many people don't want to say anything real because of that, which is sad because authenticity thrives when people are safe to express themselves. But modern socializing, especially dating, has turned into a strategic game rather than an organic experience. Dating apps create swipe culture, reducing connection to a quick judgment of attractiveness. People perform charm and wit rather than actually being themselves. Connection went out the window, and now all we do is just manage perception. People start asking, how do I make them like me? Instead of, do I even like this person? And they start asking, what's another interesting thing I can say? Instead of, what do I actually want to talk about? The reason why we struggle with authenticity is because authenticity requires vulnerability, and we're not always okay with that. And we default to our most polished, guarded versions of ourselves because that's easier. But the thing is, the more perfect we appear, the less relatable we are. We stopped practicing real, uninterrupted, messy conversation, and I love some messy conversation. But you're thinking, well, how do we reverse all of this? I mean, we've been conditioned to curate, edit, and perform, but deep down, people are starving for realness. Think about the moments you felt most connected to someone. Was it when they were perfectly composed? Or was it when they got a little lost in thought, when they laughed mid sentence, when they admitted something real? And that's what we need more of. Not performance, not perfection, just presence. We need more of just that authenticity that allows human beings to open that door for some type of connection that we are all craving. But I think the best place to start is to just say the thing. Be you. Say whatever you want to say, obviously within reason. Don't say anything weird or don't be scary or creepy. I mean, I'm not saying do that, and I hope you're not going to do that, you know?
Alright, can I run some pickup line examples by you? Tell me what you think.
Yes, I would love to know your pickup lines.
Are you an angel? Because you just fell from heaven.
Unless you're actively hoping that they sprain their ankle on the way down, I don't think so.
Okay, okay. How about this? You look like someone with a very strong opinion on completely random things. Tell me, tell me your best one.
It's playful, it's inviting, it opens up the conversation without making the person feel like they just face planted from the sky. I like it.
How about this? Are you French? Because I fall for you. Okay, okay, that was bad. How about this? On a scale from I hate this place to this is my second home, how are we feeling about this spot?
Okay, it's lighthearted, it's easy to answer, got a little bite to it, makes them feel like their opinion is valuable. I I like that one a lot. Okay, so what's the secret to making any pickup line work? Well, your energy matters more than what you're going to say. If you deliver a line, an awkward line in a relaxed, confident tone, that may land versus you delivering a perfect pickup line very stiffly and awkwardly and very forced and creepily. And that's not going to work for you. Instead of focusing on sounding cool, focus on making them feel interesting. If the conversation feels fun, people are naturally going to engage and it's going to evolve. And who knows where that could lead? Think, what is interesting about this moment? And what do I really want to know about this person?
You know what? I think I'm starting to feel better about this. I shouldn't be afraid of being awkward, right?
No, awkward moments don't mean failure, they mean real. And the thing is, some conversations will click right away and some won't. And that is okay because the point is exploring, not controlling. The thing to remember is stop overthinking the outcome. Not every interaction has to be a cinematic, beautiful love story moment. Sometimes it's just a fun exchange that lasts 5 minutes, and that is okay. You don't need to be a stand up comedian or a Shakespearean poet. You just need to be in the moment. I'll say it again. A bad pickup line delivered playfully is 100 times better than a perfect pickup line delivered stiffly. And you just have to be ready to laugh at yourself. If it flops, own it, okay? Say, you know what? Let me try again. That is way more charming than just being like, okay, all right. It's okay. Some things are going to land and some things aren't. And the next time you're by the apples, just say something. Anything. The worst case scenario, your story. The best case scenario, you both are eating Honey Crisps by next week. If you want me to air your worries, call me at this number. And if I don't pick up, leave a voicemail. Stay kind to yourself, boo boo. I'll see you next time.